What's the weirdest sex act you've ever done alone? Spent a whole day during school break lazy. In bed. Seeing how many times I could ejaculate. The answer for 17-year-old me was 12 times. 44-year-old me has not yet repeated the experiment. But my guess is once. I wanted to make my own fleshlight, so I took the tube out of a roll of toilet paper and dunked the TP into warm water. I then put my dick into this warm mass of wet toilet paper. It felt decent but made such a mess. And the post-nut guilt was something else. Jerk off upside down with a aloe bottle and use my speakers as a dick vibrator. Edit song was Ghost Main Trenchcoat. Low by T-Pain. Edit How the fuck do I turn off notice? Aloe pervs. One time when I was like 11 my PS2 controller glitched out and it just vibrated non-stop. That's all I'll say. Tied my own legs to the bedposts behind my head, but I tied them too tight so I had to cut myself out with a mechanical pencil on my nightstand. It took about 20, maybe more like 15 minutes. My grandmother, bless her soul, was the sweetest, most innocent woman you'd ever met. She would stay with us sometimes and help out around the house. One year, for Christmas, she bought me a pack of hankies. Obviously confused, I wanted an explanation. She said to me that I need to use hankies to blow my nose into, instead of all my clothes, because she did the washing and saw all the crusty stains on them. ... I am sorry, Grandma. I am really, really sorry. Once when I was a teen I masturbated on horseback. And no, before anyone says anything weird, it wasn't anything bestiality related. I was just always forced to go on horse ride, camping trips with my parents and had to sleep in the front of the horse trailer on a cot, so no privacy, and was in the middle of the woods, so no bathroom or anything. I was really horny that weekend for some reason, and so after we finished our group trail ride I said I was gonna ride more by myself and rode off into the woods. I rubbed one off up on top of the saddle really quickly, then rode back to camp like nothing ever happened. I'm so glad no one happened to come by. Hormones as a teen are insane. That horse was probably like, WTF she doing up there, and why am I having to stand here like this in the middle of nowhere? Lol. Made a fake vagina with a rubber glove. Empty pasta sauce jar. A bath sponge and a rubber band. Then fucked it for weeks as a lonely teenager. PIV. Penis in vacuum. I was going through puberty. I was quite horny in my early teens. So I looked up innovative ways to masturbate. As it seems, if you hollow out a cucumber and microwave it, it does not feel like the inside of a vagina. I was left with the most disgusting vegetable you've ever seen and a memory that lives under the surface of my dignity. I'll start by saying I'm glad I never got my dick ripped off. I was sexually repressed by religion and it led to weird sex things. Our top-load washing machine had just the right amount of vibration. And I discovered I could run it with the lid open by jamming some pennies into the hinge area. The top of the spindle had a hole, cup in the top, where you are supposed to add bleach or fabric softener. Or apparently dick. Wrap my dick in something soft. Lay across the washing machine and put it the bleach hole. Let me tell you, when it hit spin cycle, I didn't last long. Thanks for bringing up these horrifying times in my life. Edit. Thanks for all the awards and making this by far the most upvoted thing I've ever posted anywhere. In the virtual world, this is now my legacy. Damn it. Fucked a cabbage. Not the act itself, I guess, but the event as a whole. We lived in the sticks. And internet shopping wasn't really a thing back then, not that we had internet anyway. I was a horny but resourceful teenage girl. So I whittled myself a penis-like dildo out of a piece of firewood. Sanded it. And varnished it. I was around 14 to 15 at the time. I tested it out once without a condom. And freaked out about the potential toxicity of the varnish. Then used a disposable latex glove because there were no condoms in the house, and the thought of buying them was mortifying. In the end I was too paranoid about it being found. So I tossed it into the fire the next time the fireplace was lit. I wrote a raunchy message to a girl on my phone but didn't send it. I aimed my erection at the phone and made a deal with my dick that if it could get hard enough to reach the send button, the message would get on its way. Blew myself. Edit. Somebody reported me to Reddit for self-harm. Dug a penis-size hole in the ground. Filled it with packing grease. Fucked it. Remember these things? And I know I'm not alone, but my once innocent childhood toy turned into a really bad fleshlight when I started going through a ton of puberty. Wanked it while riding a tandem bike home from a fetish party. Edit to address some questions. Solo. Front. I often ride tandem solo because it's fun. Less likely to be stolen and is quite useful for bringing someone home on. Currently working on rigging a small vibrator to the back seat with controls at the front. Yup. Username checks out. Redditor 9 years. And proud of this being my most upvoted comment. Thanks for the bling. As a horny and desperate youth, I was constantly looking up new ways to rub one out. My biggest fuck up was after I saw the video of how to make a pocket pussy out of 2 dish sponges. A dish glove. And a cup. I had the cup. But no sponges or rubber glove. What I did have was 2 Mr. Clean magic erasers. And some saran wrap. Long story short, saran wrap does not create an effective barrier between skin and caustic chemicals. I had a chemical burn on the head and shaft of my dong for about 2 weeks. Didn't go to the hospital. But I did have to wear the softest pair of shorts I owned for a while. Kids. Read the warning label before you put your dick in something. Edit. I guess it turns out that magic erasers do not contain caustic chemicals. This information does nothing to lessen my shame. Edit 2. Obligatory thank you for my first gold. However, whoever gave a wholesome to this may need to speak to a professional. I gave myself a hanging wedgie using the door while having clothespins on my nipples. I rubbed my dick until I came through the underwear. Saw a thing in a hentai. Decided to try it out. Gave myself a UTI and thrush. If you're gonna fuck a bottle, make sure to sterilize it first. I used a wooden sword as a dildo when I was a teenager. I used a soft fishing lure as a dildo and lotion as lube. Got super freaked out after. I was really high and paranoid, so I called poison control thinking I was going to die from the chemicals on the lure law. In middle school, I once got a postcard from a girl I was super into. I'm pretty sure it was a generic bidet card. Anyway, I was so excited that I opened the card. Cut a hole in the middle and tried to fuck it. Didn't go well. Do not recommend. Highly uncomfortable and painful. Make fuck to the couch cushions. Ya know in between the crevice? I have rather religious and conservative parents. They decided to put off the sex talk, at least the details, until my senior year of high school. So when I started getting erections back in middle school, I had no idea what was going on. Not really understanding them. I thought it was like an ache or some really weird itch. So to scratch it, I'd lie on my front in bed, press my groin against the mattress, and rock back and forth. TLDR. I humped my mattress until high school. Either inserting a popsicle into my ass, because I have a fetish for inserting really cold things inside me. And I've done it with ice cubes before. Or squirting shampoo into my ass because I thought maybe it would feel like someone coming inside me, and being a virgin at the time, I wanted to know what it was like. It was nothing like someone coming inside of me. And I would like to add that I do not recommend squirting shampoo anywhere inside of your body. Ever. I kind of have this fetish where the idea of being experimented on, or being the product of a Frankenstein's monster kind of experiment, is a big turn on. I also have a fetish for being forced to drink liquids. So one day I decided to try combining the two. I set up some spooky green lights in my living room. Then take some plastic tubing I have from other hobbies and make myself a siphon. With one end down my throat a little ways. And the other in a big ass cup of Gatorade sitting on a table above me, may as well hydrate. Am I right? Closing parenthesis. I laid down on my back, with a towel under me, and just kind of let the siphon go. It didn't last long. The weight changed so rapidly the tubing pulled the glass over, spilling the like half-gallon of Gatorade all over me and my carpet. I had put towels down, but it was just so much it still soaked through. So here I am, sitting in the middle of my living room, naked, covered in Gatorade like an asshole. It wasn't a highlight of my solo sexual exploits, but it's a good story I don't ever get to tell, lol. When I was a kid I had the thought if I could jerk off but keep the cum in me, would it feel good for longer? So I put scotch tape over my pee hole and went to town. Suffice to say it was very painful and I have a bit of a lasting trauma. Would not recommend. At age 8 on vacation in Spain with my family, I made love to a Smarties tube. Got my penis stuck and then my brother busted me. He still call me Mr. Smarties sometimes. I am 26. Edit. After some quick Google searching I found out it was not a Smarties tube. It was a mini MANDM tube. I guess the whole nickname thing is ruined. BTW, I sent my brother a screenshot of reaching 10K. He simply replied, legend. Thanks for all rewards, hands clapping. Once when I was a young teen I wanted to know what my cum tasted like, but licking it off my hand seemed gross, so I jerked off into a Tostitos scoop and then ate it. It would take me years to realize that cum is both salty but not that salty. Got so horny that I masturbated with a carrot and went to see my then BF with the carrot still inside me, 20 minutes bus ride. Just to be greeted by his mom at the door. No-ped the fuck outta there even before entering his place. Edit. WAU. Thanks guys. You know these weird intrusive thoughts you sometimes have when near somewhere you could jump from? Welp, one time I just put a butter knife up my V. Edit. Yes. Blade first. No, it didn't hurt or cut me. I was lucky my heavily dissociated 14-yo self snapped back to reality fast enough to remove it carefully. I then scrubbed that thing like my life depended on it. Told this story before, but I've masturbated into an empty McFlurry container. More than once. While I was alone at work. It's one of those things I look back on and think, what was I thinking? In my defense, I was 17 or 18. Horny. All the time. McFlurry containers seem to be ergonomically designed for a quick clean-up. If you're wondering, yes, you have to watch out for the edge of the container. Not very easy to use, but it just looks like a container with a hole, guys. Teenage horniness is just weird. I was essentially a skeleton staff in a two-person office where the other person was on vacation and I just had to keep the office running. Take messages and write emails to prevent the office from seeming dead. I really hope that office didn't have cameras. Okay, so a buddy and I that lived together went out drinking one night. Got sloshed and had a great time. We both woke up early the next morning and headed back to the apartment. Now he's a decent cook, so he said he'd whip us up some omelets as hangover food. I was stoked as I felt like shit. So he gives me my plate and we both go to our respective rooms. I get about 3 to 5 bites in and I'm just way too hungover to be eating anything of real substance without risk of throwing it up. Now a weird thing about myself. I'm sure it happens to others. But I get super horny when hungover. I don't understand why. But it happens. Normally I'll beat off and immediately hate myself as the headache from the hangover comes back full force. But this time, instead of beating off like a normal person, I looked at that omelet and thought I bet that would feel amazing. So I, throwing caution to the wind, I fucked that omelet. Just really gave it the business until I finished. Regret and disdain for myself came rushing back to me along with my headache as I threw the omelet away in the trash and crawled into bed to sleep the rest of my hangover away. So TLDR, as I fucked an omelet. Phone sex. I've only done it once with a so many years ago and I felt so damn awkward the entire time. She was way into it but I couldn't even get a semi. I 100% faked my orgasm. I've got many. Maybe too embarrassing to admit, but that's why I made this account. I've used anything. And I mean anything. I could find in the bathroom to pleasure myself. Top most embarrassing things are pill containers and the plunger. I learned that masturbating while having to pee makes it feel good, so I would do so often. So often that one time I peed all over the bathroom floor. I tried to fuck myself with a water bottle. All these happened before I was 15. I thought everyone did these things. Edit 1. I am cis female. I was careful cleaning up things before and after. No. I don't use random objects anymore. I am an adult, turned 25 yesterday. Thank you for an interesting birthday post development, and thus have better outlets. My husband's reaction to how much attention this got was, let them know you're poly. Edit 2. This is probably dead by now, but my account almost got permanently banned for this post. Closing parenthesis dot. Whatever, Reddit. Scrolling through this thread has assured me of my normalcy. Got a cheap game for my PS4 that made the controller vibrate a lot because my vibrator was broken. Edit. I swear I get so many wholesome awards just because of my username. My dudes. The name is about blue Doc Martens. Not necessarily super sexual. But I passionately made out, dry humped with a Dory plush when I was younger because of a massive crush I had on the character. Yes. I'm talking about the fish from Finding Nemo. Edit. Silver for this? Y'all are too kind. Thank you, stranger. Edit 2. Good God. This is my most upvoted and awarded comment. I'm not complaining. But what is going on? I'm so ashamed writing this. Lol. Younger me. F. Had one of those huge teddy bear stuffed animals. Like the giant people-sized ones. Well, one day I was horny. And decided I was going to use duct tape. And tape down my dildo onto my stuffed bear's area. I then proceeded to ride him to climax. I'm so ashamed of this. Even to this day loudly crying. Edit. Thank you to the guys and gals who have liked and/or commented to me. Also, those of you who gifted me awards. I thank you very much. Former camgirl here. I have a lot of stories. One of my clients had a thing for me making a bikini out of plastic bags and wearing them. He would book me for up to an hour to pose and talk to him about sexual situations where I might be wearing a plastic bag during sexy times. Even shoved a plastic bag up my pussy a time or two. He had a thing for the crinkling, and when he was getting close he would say shit like, "Yes darling." Make it crinkle, over and over again. Another client liked me to get fully nude and tear up newspaper. Not carbon paper or construction paper or anything else. Just newspaper. Last but not least. One client was into race play, degradation. Which was fine by me. It was all fun and games. He was Asian and instead of the usual stereotypical stuff that most race play relies on, i.e. Asian men have small dicks, etc. He had more sophisticated tastes. He got really into it when I talked about why various Asian countries lost various global conflicts. Tell me more about why we lost the Vietnam War or tell me why the Japanese were nuked by the Americans. Babe. All while I had a dildo in various orifices and was putting on my best bedroom voice. When you do sex work, you see all kind of wacky kinks. And as someone who catered to fetishes specifically, I have seen some shit. But those three definitely stood out as moments where I felt like I was being trolled. Was in a class at school. Back then I would get turned on so easily. For some reason there was a photo of a hot girl in bikini and a mural on the wall. To this day I'm specially turned on by girls in swimsuits. I saw it and was instantly turned on. Spent the entire class thinking about it. The class ended. Couldn't hold myself. Decided I had to relieve myself right there. Hid myself below some chairs or something. Everyone left. Teacher left. I stood up. Looked at the pic. Almost exploding. Started jerking off. Was done in seconds. Creamed everything. Strangely. To this day. Like 20 years later. I don't remember what happened next. Cut a hole in my orangutan teddy that I had since birth and pumped the living daylights out it when I just discovered I could come. It ended up all crusty and I had to re-stuff it a couple times. Eventually my friend found it. Put his finger in the hole and realized what he had just done and that was the end of our friendship smiley face. It was around about then I realized what a disgrace I was and invested in an oven mitt. A packet of ham and a snorkel. Where I was grounded so much as a child. I found that my Xbox controller was a great use as a vibrator. I'd keep my finger on the trigger button to make it keep vibrating. I was 9 when I first figured this out and it was definitely my favorite toy haha. This was the Xbox Crystal BTW. Edit. For everyone wondering how I found this out when I was only 9. My stepdad was a narcissist and he grounded me to my room for 6 months at a time. He was also very abusive so I stayed in my room a lot anyways. It's just one of the things I figured out. I had the controller on my lap one day and it started vibrating and I was curious as to why it felt nice. So I investigated a bit more. I had hit puberty hard by 9. I was already having periods. I guess it's just one of those things guys lol. I'm 25 now so this was a long time ago. One time I heated up a 5-layer bean burrito from Taco Bell for about 150 seconds before trying to use it as a fleshlight. I went balls deep and caused first-degree burn on my crotch. Yes. I was a teen when I did this. Yes, I worked at Taco Bell. No, I would not recommend. No, that's not how we made sour cream. Used glue as a lube. My balls glued together. Not a fun conversation with my parents. Said you like that? Fucking retard? To myself. Poured shampoo down my urethra. Thinking it would generate some sort of pleasure. Narrator. It did not. If it fits. I sits. When I was in middle school I ended up in school suspension where I was essentially locked in a supply closet with a desk in it for a week and a half. The supply closet was connected to the principal's office but no one really came in to check on me besides at lunchtime when it was mandatory to bring their closet prisoners food. Anyways. That closet turned into my masturbatorium. Very important masturbatory studies and experiments were conducted in my time there. Very scientific and groundbreaking work was headed by myself and my assistant right-hand woman. Great assistant and still with me to this day. Years later when I was in high school I returned to speak with the new principal of that middle school about supplies for a club project I was working on. I went into the closet where the desk was to gather a few boxes she prepared for me. Lo and behold I noticed. For the very first time. A camera trained right on the fucking desk. To this day I have no idea if that camera was there while I was in there. It's the exact same as the rest of the cameras in that school so I feel like it has been upside down face. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video don't forget to drop a like. If you would like to see more content like this in the future, subscribe and turn on notifications to be notified about future videos. Now check out one of these interesting videos.